I looked down at my arm, and it was the worst of the bunch, but...
Picture this. A perfect backyard barbecue with friends. Grill fired up, food sizzling, and laughter filling the air. But in an instant, everything spirals into chaos. For Sean Lowe, former star of The Bachelor, what was meant to be a laid-back evening transformed into an unimaginable ordeal when his loyal companion, Moose, turned from a beloved pet to a vicious attacker. The trouble began when smoke from the grill set off the alarm, sending Moose, an adopted boxer, into an uncontrollable frenzy. In a heartbeat, his demeanor shifted from gentle to ferocious. This wasn't just a scared dog lashing out. It was a relentless assault. Before Lowe could even comprehend the danger, Moose was on him, teeth tearing into his arm with brutal force. Blood surged from the deep gashes, leaving Lowe in shock, fearing that an artery had been hit. With his friends rushing to intervene, Lowe managed to break free from Moose's grip and make it to the hospital, where doctors stitched up his severely injured arm. Just when he thought the nightmare had passed, fate twisted the knife yet again. Barely half a day later, the unimaginable repeated itself. A gust of wind swung the door wide open, giving Moose a chance to escape. As Lowe prepared to take his kids, Isaiah, Samuel, and Mia, to their grandparents, he saw the dog charging straight at them. His heart pounded with the gut-wrenching terror of facing that same deadly force again. Only this time, his children were in the line of danger. The sheer horror of reliving that traumatic attack, knowing his family was at risk, was almost too overwhelming to bear. It's the kind of experience that doesn't just leave physical scars, but etches deep into the mind, forcing a person to confront the haunting reality of betrayal by something once so familiar. I'm Jordan, and this is True Story. Stay with us as we uncover more of this shocking and emotional story, because sometimes danger doesn't come from strangers, but from the ones you trust the most. Picture this. You're locked in a brutal battle for your life, against your own dog. 10 excruciating minutes of sheer desperation, every second stretching into an eternity, as survival becomes the only thought in your mind. That's exactly what Sean Lowe faced when his family's newly adopted boxer, Moose, turned from a gentle companion into a vicious attacker. By the time first responders arrived, the scene was a blood-soaked nightmare, and Lowe had barely managed to escape with his life, fighting for survival against the very animal he had once trusted. It was a reality almost too harsh to comprehend. Yet, even after the traumatic ordeal, Lowe couldn't bring himself to hate Moose. Instead, he viewed it through a lens of compassion, recognizing that the dog wasn't to blame. Moose had been part of the family for just 3 months, and Lowe couldn't shake the feeling that the dog's sudden aggression was rooted in past trauma, like a mental switch flipping without warning. There was no malice behind Moose's actions, just the ghost of something far more complicated. He wasn't just an uncontrollable force, he was a product of whatever pain and damage he'd endured long before he joined the household. What made it even more heart-wrenching was the contrast. Just hours before the violent outburst, Moose had been resting peacefully with the family. Lowe had even filmed a few tender moments, capturing the dog's softer side as if nothing in the world could go wrong. Now those memories felt tainted, colliding violently with the trauma of what had just transpired. For Lowe and his wife, Catherine, the experience left more than just physical wounds. It carved deep emotional scars. The healing process was slow, both physically and mentally, as haunting flashbacks crept in without warning. Sometimes, Lowe would catch himself flinching, his body instinctively reacting to memories he couldn't escape. The family remained caught in an agonizing dilemma, desperate to keep the dog they loved but terrified of the risk. In the end, practicality outweighed emotion. They knew they had to do what was best for everyone involved. Partnering with animal control and a no-kill shelter, they worked to find Moose a safe place to live. A bittersweet choice, balancing love with responsibility. Despite the pain of letting go, they couldn't help but feel the absence of the dog they once hoped would become a permanent part of their lives. dog attacks happen way more often than most people realize. About 4.7 million bites every year in the United States alone. And the shocking part? Many of these incidents never get reported or even acknowledged. It makes you wonder just how many stories like Sean Lowe's remain untold and hidden from public view. Sean Lowe's terrifying encounter with Moose, the boxer he and his family had recently adopted, shed light on a harsh truth. Owning a pet can come with unexpected risks, even when that pet seems lovable and harmless at first. But what truly haunts Lowe is the thought of what could have happened if it hadn't been him on the receiving end of Moose's aggression. He can't help but feel a strange sense of gratitude that it was him and not his wife or children. Because deep down, he knows that if they had been attacked instead, it might have ended in tragedy. Now, with the aftermath weighing heavily on them, the Lowes are relying on their support system, friends, family, and each other, to navigate the emotional fallout. The decision to rehome Moose wasn't made lightly, but it was the only choice that felt right given the circumstances. It's one of those choices that lingers long after it's made, leaving a bittersweet ache over losing a dog they once saw as family. Amid the pain and confusion, one thing remains clear. The family is determined to push through, finding strength in their shared struggle and learning to let go. But this story is more than just one family's ordeal. It's a reminder to every dog owner who thinks, it could never happen to me. I'm Jordan, and this is True Story. Stay tuned as we delve further into the complicated bonds we share with our pets and the unexpected dangers that can surface when trust is broken.